Lesson 63. The soul that sins dies. Today is the continuation of the previous lesson about sin and death, mercy and life. The simple reality around this is that there is no way around sin. You cannot have sin and good deeds in the same pocket and expect you will get away with it somehow in the end. Just as Jesus said, no man can serve two masters. You will either love one and hate the other, or he will hold into one and despise the other. Remember, God and sin cannot be mixed up, just as darkness cannot stand in the presence of light. When you walk with God, you walk in the light. There are three things that make us who we are: body, soul, and spirit. The soul always chooses a side to serve depending on what you feed your mind with. You have heard the saying, as the man thinketh, so is he. The soul chooses the body because your heart does not desire the way of God. You choose to ignore his commands and his instructions through his word, and you decide to go your own way, doing things as the world does, trying to satisfy your soul with pleasure and having more power in life. And therefore Jesus is asking the basic question in Matthew 16:26. What will it profit a man if he gains the entire world and lose his soul? The world and everything in it will pass away, but the word of God will stand forever. From the beginning we were meant to live forever. Man, with all his knowledge and science, has never figured out where did man came from. Even when you say he came from an animal, where did that animal came from? There is no clear explanation, and since there is no proof, the only theory produced is that we were formed billions and billions of years ago, which never makes sense. It's an illusion of time, space, and matter which no one could ever figure out its origin. Everybody serves somebody. You may not know it, but you may unconsciously be doing it. It might be the government, the people, your work, your family, money, fame, your body. In one way or another, you serve something or someone. How we are created since the beginning is to serve God. Our soul also is a servant to either your body or your spirit, but the choice is yours. Galatians 5:16-17. So I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. For the flesh desires what is contrary to the Spirit, and the Spirit what is contrary to the flesh. They are in conflict with each other, so that you are not to do whatever you want. This is the reason there are some things we cannot just wake up and do to hurt your neighbor or do what is wrong to yourself and the people around you. There is that what people call guilt conscience that haunts you not to do, even though your flesh so much wants to do it, but your spirit directs you otherwise. On the other hand, the devil knows this. That is why he is good on converting people. He trains you with little sins, and then little by little you keep on adding a bit more and graduate into big sin, and by the time you get used to it, you find no reason to go back. So many people, like artists, singers, athletes, and many others, at some point in their lives when they were young, they were good Christians, attending Sunday schools, church, and Bible studies, but little by little they distance themselves from it, thinking that people outside benefit more than them who are in. They train their flesh to what they feel will satisfy their soul, but in the end the soul never gets satisfied because only God can satisfy it. No matter how much fame or wealth you will achieve, the soul will always be empty because it has been forgotten and it needs God. Train yourself to follow God, little by little. Start slowly quitting the little things which are not beneficial to your body and to your health, and start feeding your soul little by little with the Word of God. Bring your soul back in line with your spirit, and your whole body will be the temple where God will dwell forever. When you grow up, it is easy to get so used to the things and the way of the world to the point that you find it almost impossible to give it all up and follow what God tells you to do. I have been down that road before where I thought the world has the answer and found myself dwell into it. But the more I get the taste of it, the more it was harder to get back to God and the emptier I felt inside. This is why Jesus said, "Narrow is the road that leads to life. Wide is the way that leads to destruction." The only way you can save your soul in the end is to lose it. Let go of the things that are not beneficial and stick with God's original plan, being like Him through following His commands. For He say, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light."